Hi, Jeff Zwarenk. Welcome back to Give and Take, the segment of our show where we explore important ideas related to science and how they relate to the truth of Christianity. Today, I'm joined again by Dr. Ken Keathley, and we're going to deal with a kind of a controversial topic that science is actually racist and oppressive. Ken, it's good to have you here again today.
Jeff, thank you for having me.
So there's this rumbling out there. I don't know how prevalent it is, but just this idea that science, and in particular because science make truth claims, but that science is somehow racist and oppressive in the way we do it. How do we get to where that's the way we're thinking about science?
Yeah, well, these are strange days in the educational world. Well, first, let me be as positive as I can be about such claims. I think that many who try to argue that there is racism in science, okay, that's a conversation I'm glad to have, because that's distinguishing between science as an institution and science as a discipline. Science as an institution is made up of human beings, and human beings are fallible. We make mistakes. We bring in all of our intellectual baggage. We as evangelical Christians have at times pushed back at science as an institution. So I get that. And we do want to look at the situation in which it is remarkable how we do wish that there were more people of color involved and engaged in the STEM fields. And we need to ask ourselves, are there things that we're doing that either consciously or unconsciously, either deliberately or inadvertently, is hindering certain people groups from being engaged in science? That's a valid question. I think that's something worthy of being asked. The problem comes whenever the two are conflated and people start talking about science as a discipline as being implicitly or inherently racist. Now, why would someone be thinking like that? Well, that's what happens whenever one looks upon all kinds of truth claims, no matter what they are, as being assertions of power. We find this way of thinking among French philosophers in the mid-20th century. I'm thinking of someone like Jacques-Paul Sartre, who argued this. And then further on, the postmodern French philosophers such as Jacques Derrida or Michel Foucault, in which they understood all claims to power, all claims to knowledge to be power claims. Well, again, there's a certain element of truth in that. And that is the teacher does have great power over the student. And those who, we even have the slogan, knowledge is power. There is a certain type of power that comes with knowledge. But to understand it simply as expressions of power, are to understand power in inherently negative ways. In other words, if one is utilizing power, that doesn't mean he's automatically an oppressor. My mother had great authority and power over me growing up. It doesn't mean that when I was growing up, doesn't mean that she was my oppressor. But if you understand all claims to knowledge to be power claims, and if you understand all exercise of power in terms of the oppressor and the oppressed, well, then there we go. Next thing you know, we have where even in the areas of mathematics and science, there are those who are claiming that these are inherently racist and oppressive, which is really strange. It's really difficult. I don't think that the claim 2 + 2 = 4 is somehow oppressive, and I think most people see that as the absurdity for what it is.
That is just really interesting, because one of the things I just love about science is that you can have all sorts of ideas of this is there, that, or the other thing. But with science, you go out and say, all right, here's my idea. Does it match the real world? And so there's this standard above my idea or anybody else's idea, does it actually align with the real world, if you will? And so there's this kind of neutral arbiter of truth that doesn't care whether I've got a lot of power or not. So this idea that scientific pursuit is racist, or that's just an interesting way to think about it. But this gets me, or kind of see this connection, because Christianity makes a lot of truth claims. And so if truth claims are oppressive, as Christians, how do we deal with that? Or what does that mean for the gospel?
Well, in a postmodern setting, this is where we're at today, in that anyone who tries to approach others with truth claims, this is often denigrated and attacked as being something inherently violent. So in today's world, in the postmodern world, many times they see the most violent of people. They present missionaries as oppressors because they dare to go to people that are different, people of other people groups, other cultures, other ethnicities, and present them with the truth claims of the gospel. Well, of course, there's an inherent contradiction to this, because they're saying anyone who has an overarching truth claim, and someone who tries to make that kind of claim, they are being oppressive and violent. And yet I think, hey, wait a minute. Isn't that claim you just made? Isn't that an overarching claim? Aren't you yourself trying to assert something and change my way of thinking? So it's just simply not going to work. Going back to what you said about you make a claim about the world and then you try to evaluate it and test it to see if it's so. If you'll notice in the way you said that, there's a certain level of tentativeness and humility there. And that is what science at its best is intended to be. And that is an empirical methodology in which certain truth claims are made, and then through rigorous testing, we find out if it's so. This is one of the reasons why science has been so successful in understanding the physical world. And this is one of the reasons why I think that Christians should be involved in sciences, because I do think that it is a valid approach to knowing certain types of knowledge.
Well, and it seems to me in there, the aspect of searching for the truth, there are people who are going to go out and try and exert power, that being able to know the truth actually is a way of freeing yourself from those deceitfully seeking power, because it gives you the chance to know whether they're saying is right or wrong and to oppose that, which is kind of what the gospel is about. It's like whatever else you believe, it's like, here's who you are in front of God. Truth seems to be pretty important to the Christian faith, is it not?
Yes. I mean, we do, thy word is truth, is what Jesus said as he prayed to the Father. So yes, Jesus himself claimed to be the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. We claim certain truths about the Christian faith, and that is who Jesus Christ was and what he accomplished for us, and that he rose from the dead. We don't think that is that he rose from the dead metaphorically, or that he rose from the dead figuratively. We're making an ontological truth claim whenever we say we affirm the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Well, thanks, Ken. I really do appreciate your comments. This is kind of a difficult and challenging subject. We've only begun to broach some of what there is there, but what is without a doubt true is that Christianity makes claims about what is true and how do we stand before God. And it's really important, I think, to understand the truth, because that does give us power over people who are trying to oppress you with deceitful and wrong claims. And so seeking truth is really important. And I know Ken has talked a lot about what all this means. I would encourage you to go to reasons.org and check out Ken Keathley's page. He's got numerous articles that you can explore on this and other topics. That's reasons.org/team/Ken-Keathley. You get some great resources to equip you to understand how to think about truth and racism and oppression and power, how we can use it to spread the gospel and tell others about how much God loves them.